Welcome back to another episode of the Baseline Bums podcast. It's your host, Rob, a.k.a. B-Ball Archives, and once again, I'm joined by the homie AJ. Adam couldn't be here because he's having some major internet troubles.
Yeah, maybe we'll post about that on our Instagram later on what happened, but unfortunately Adam can't make it. He's having technical difficulties, if you will. So we are here today. We are here to talk about one of my most favorite times every 4 years. We're here to talk about the Olympics, here to talk about the new NBA TV deal, and whatever other shenanigans we want to get into. So, let's just jump into it without Adam.
Oh, yeah.
Old school style.
Absolutely. So, yeah, we got new TV deal. So we got the NBA just accepted an 11-year, $76 billion deal with Amazon. This is a massive deal, especially when you look at the former deal with Warner Brothers, which was 1.8 billion. This is going to be a few times that. A lot of games are going to be shown on Amazon Prime. Thursday night doubleheader games. We're going to have Friday games, Saturday afternoon games. This is just going to be a whole different landscape with how the NBA is broadcast and shown after the end of next season. So it's going to be a big shift. AJ, how are you feeling about that?
It's weird, man. It's really weird. The numbers are eye-popping, to say the least. They're absolutely like, 70 billion? And the last one was only one. And then you're starting to understand, like, oh, okay, well, what does this look like on the new platform? And I think whatever we can do to get Bally Sports off of the local TV deals, especially in San Antonio, I am all for that, because I absolutely hate Bally Sports. I think with the way that the world's going right now, this is a really good win for the NBA, but also it's a huge loss for fans. I mean, that basically puts TNT and Turner Sports into the grave when it comes to the NBA. We're not going to have Chuck, Shaq, and Kenny and EJ. So, I mean, that really sucks. But, at the same time, we weren't going to have them for forever. I mean, they had, maybe another 5 years-ish max together. So, I mean, obviously we're going to have to get used to that. But for the most part, I'm pretty excited about it. I think it definitely makes the league a lot more accessible, for sure, for fans that are not in the market and don't want to pay the $200 and something for NBA League Pass. So I like it. I think we'll see kind of how this all rolls out and what it looks like down the road. But from a 10,000-foot view, don't hate it.
Yeah, I don't really hate it either. I mean, obviously, whenever you think about NBA on TNT ending, that's been an institution since 1989, since before we were even born. That's something that was a pillar of the basketball community. So to see something like that disappearing after the end of next season, obviously that's something that's really sad. But I agree, this is going to make a lot more regular season basketball games accessible when you think about how many people have Amazon Prime accounts. This is going to be massive for some teams that don't get this kind of regular exposure. And one thing that I also think it's going to improve is NBA League Pass. I could easily see Amazon improving on that subscription service experience for customers. Maybe not only offering some potential first-time customers some kind of Amazon gift cards, some kind of Amazon
bundle,
give back.
Yeah.
And so I could actually see Amazon improving certain things about NBA League Pass, making it better for some first-time buyers.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that I have to buy League Pass in order to watch the Spurs games. And I remember whenever we went to college and not being able to watch any kind of Spurs games because we just didn't have the platforms or anything to do it. And people nowadays, they're going to be able to just open up their phone and see all these games. And so if you're a huge fan of, let's say, Paulo Banchero, and you can't watch Orlando Magic games unless they're on ESPN, now you can watch every single one of his games, or you can watch only his highlights, What I wish, the only thing that I wish that they still incorporate is the home announced team stuff or the arena experience that you have in League Pass. Because for me, I really enjoyed watching just the arena and watching the timeouts and watching the coyote and do all that stuff. Like I had more fun
That's
with that.
fun.
It's so much fun. There's nothing better than watching a Spurs game and pretending that you're there, and then you can see like, oh hey, I think I know that person that was on the jumbotron. That's really cool to do. And as long as they keep that and have everything else get better, let's definitely move forward with it. I'm also excited about the NBA on NBC coming back. The theme song's coming back, and I'm super stoked about that. I don't think we're gonna have Bob Costas, but yeah, I think we'll have Mike Tirico. So I'm here for it. It's gonna be fun. Hopefully this podcast can get a couple of dollars out of that 77 billion, but we'll see. We need our followers to get us there.
Yeah, that would be incredible. Just, I mean, honestly, just the fact that the league is able to be in a position to get this kind of deal, and the NBA is so lucrative that it can say no to multi-billion-dollar deals, turn that down, and go after an even better one. But that brings up another point I wanted to mention. Is I was actually reading multiple articles saying that Warner Brothers actually plans to sue. They felt as if they were not given enough time to respond to the offer that Amazon made. They said that they matched the offer and that NBA doesn't have the right to decline their offer because they matched it. So I don't think that we're done hearing the end of this. I think that this is probably going to go to court, and there's no way that Warner Brothers is just going to turn over and just allow the NBA to be taken from them. It is way too big of a cash cow.
Oh, for sure. But the response for the NBA could easily just be, you guys just don't have the same platform that an Amazon has. In order for us to fully take over the way we want to. I mean, think about it. I don't have a TNT app that I have on my phone. I have to go on my YouTube TV app and get into TNT that way. So, and you're only limited to what you're limited to. I mean, I'm kind of curious to see if they have a similar NBA type show, like a All the Smoke or Gil's Arena or something like that, so guys can be a little more loose with the tongue. So we get a similar thing like inside the NBA, but they're just dropping F-bombs here and there. So I think it would be interesting to see how that all kind of unfolds. But at the same time, if I'm looking at it from the NBA's perspective, TNT Sports or Turner Sports, they do a great job of the NCAA tournament. Great job. They have the March Madness app and all that stuff, but it's only for that period of time. We don't know what it would look like on a larger scale with an NBA type deal. Like, we don't know if they're going to be able to house all the teams and put up all the games and stream them on their platform. We just don't know that. And if they can, cool. You need to articulate that to the NBA. But at the end of the day, it's the NBA's decision. And so they're going to go back and forth with court. But at the end of the day, it's on the customer. And the NBA is your customer if you're TNT.
Right. No, I think that makes all the sense in the world. The NBA is just kind of wanting a change, and they feel like Amazon is going to be the vessel for that change. I think where Warner Brothers is really having issue is they had 5 days to match. They had 5 days to match that Amazon, and it looks like the NBA might have accepted that offer even before Warner Brothers, before that time window was closed. So I think that's kind of where there was some like, hey, what's the deal with that? But but ultimately, I agree. I think the NBA is just like, hey, we're going to go with arguably the biggest company on the face of the earth, Amazon. Makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious. I'm just curious to see how this all unfolds. I'm excited for it. I think this is the next step in growing the game globally. I think we saw David Stern do it, and obviously, whenever we were growing up, the NBA on NBC was a huge thing. That's where MJ won all of his finals, from what I remember. That's where the Spurs won their first title in '99. That was the channel that it was on. So I mean, changes happen, and we're gonna get this again here in the next few years. Like obviously in the what's it was an 11-year deal. So in the next 12 years from now, we're probably having the same conversation on this new platform or the new medium in order to watch the NBA stuff. So it's all changing. It's always going to change. You're not going to stay consistent forever. And I think it's a good change. And I just want to see. Now I'm really curious to see what those huge contracts look like, because we think Jaylen Brown's getting paid a lot of money. Like, give it 2 years when this thing really kicks in. Whew, whew, whew.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of these contracts that were given out in the last year or two, on the front end, they're going to look really big, but after these television deals are in, that's going to look like a semi-small contract, to be brutally honest. And guys like Jalen Brunson are going to look really underpaid.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at LeBron James. He's getting, what, 50 mil right now for being 39? What's 50 mil compared to $77 billion? Like, that is nothing.
Yeah,
so,
it's a drop in the hat.
So we'll see how crazy these contracts get, and I think Wemby's going to be a very, very well paid NBA player. We'll see how big that contract is.
Oh yeah, Wembanyama could easily be the first $500 million contract. Like whenever you look at how these per year earnings are increasing, there's no reason to believe that a few years down the road he doesn't sign a 5-year $500 million deal where he's getting $100 million a year. I could see it.
Dude, that's a lot of Lego sets for Wemby. So many Lego sets.
He's getting every Star Wars collection ever created.
He might be in the next. He might be in the next Star Wars if it comes down to that.
Dude, he could easily play a character like General Grievous and just have his arms, a lightsaber in each arm. Dude, I wouldn't fight him. Hell no.
He could also just throw on the Chewie costume and be a Wookiee too. So, I mean, dude, I'm. You know how? Sorry, we're totally going off topic. You know how Kareem was like in a bunch of movies back in the '70s, just as the tall guy.
Yeah,
I would see Wemby as just like the tall actor guy that's just making cameos here and there. Just what the fuck is this? Like, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
So anyway, back to what we were talking about. This is gonna be a new dawn. It's a new day for the NBA. This is kind of the progression that we've seen since we were kids, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger. So, let's see what Adam Silver has up his sleeve.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't see any reason why it's not going to be successful. We've already seen them do it with the NFL. We've seen NFL games broadcasted on Amazon Prime. I don't see why this situation would be any different.
Right. Do you think, let me ask you something, do you think Amazon and Turner Sports did the same pitch as they did in Entourage, where it's like Mercedes, Walmart, water, Coke,
Vincent
NBA.
Chase? Nah, dude, they were like McDonald's, Microsoft. No.
I just saw that episode not too long ago.
Nah, but but in all honesty, I think it all came down to there's a lot of money to be made within new streaming deals, and I don't know if Turner Sports is the first to market when it comes to streaming. I think Amazon is definitely the more established route.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, even if Turner Sports were to win the deal, they're probably going to throw all of their server stuff on AWS, which is Amazon. And the reason why Amazon has AWS is because of Black Friday. They had so many extra servers left over from Black Friday that they're like, what do we do? It's like, oh no, let's sell them to the public. So that's exactly how they got AWS, and now AWS is like the biggest sponsor of the NFL. So my question to you is, now that Amazon is more than likely going to win this bid, what does that do with Jeff Bezos and the potential sell of the Boston Celtics?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a very good question. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't thought about that yet. I'm it makes what the Celtics have been doing to increase their value look a little suspicious, to be brutally honest. But at the same time, yeah, I haven't thought about that situation yet. How are you feeling about that?
I don't think Jeff Bezos can have both the platform of the NBA and a team. I think that's potentially a conflict of interest. So, legal jargon, legal stuff that I do not know how to even comprehend. I feel that that's going to be kind of one of the kickers that maybe the owners come in. They're like, hey, this guy is already making money and doing all this stuff because he bought the TV rights. Like, we don't want him in our club because he basically can control the Boston Celtics, get all the best deals, all the best times, blah 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 blah. So it could be a conflict of interest. We'll see if Bezos is even in the conversation after this week. So
Yeah, that's honestly that's a really good point to the conversation that I hadn't even thought about. Yeah, that's interesting. They may force him to sell his portion, but even if that happens,
Yeah,
I don't see that standing in the way of him acquiring the NBA as a whole. I think
right.
that's paramount.
Yeah. Well, what it only opens up the door now for expansion teams too. So I'm assuming we're going to get a team in Las Vegas, and I'm assuming NBA is going to be back in Seattle before we know it. So I mean, just there's a lot of money. There's a lot of people that want to get in on it. So let's do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's going to be nothing but good. But yeah, let's shift gears a little bit, talk some Spurs basketball, talk some Spurs expectations, what we're thinking about 24-25 season. How you feeling about that?
82-0. Naturally. No. Well, I would say I'm excited to see that. So here's a good little teaser. I'm excited to see what Wimby does this Olympics, and the reason why I'm excited because if we see him on a global scale, people are watching France games because they want to say, hey, I've heard a lot of things about this Wimby guy, but I haven't really got to watch a lot of games. I want to watch the Olympics and see what he looks like. If he comes out and he's taken the next step on a team that he's really not familiar with. Like, yeah, they're homies, but they're not like the team that you're with 8 months out of the year. So I'm curious to see what Wimby looks like on a global scale, and if he comes in and averages, let's say it's like 18, 11, and like 3 or 4 blocks in 6 games, and gets them to a medal round, I think that is a huge leap for us going into training camp. And then you add that piece to what we already added with the Harrison Barnes, CP3. Everyone kind of knows their role now. Also, one of the biggest things for me and what really bothers me when people say, "Oh, the Spurs aren't any better," like that's ridiculous. Well, hey, guess what? We're not going to dick around for 4 months trying to figure out if Jeremy Sohan can dribble a ball up the court. So we don't have to worry about that anymore. Now we have a team. We understand what it is, and if you look at us past December, we did pretty good. That last month, whenever Wimby turned it all around and was beating the Nuggets and caused the Nuggets to spiral out of control going into the playoffs, let's see what a full year of that looks like. And I think we now know how Wimby's going to work, what we can do to make him better, and how we can get him into space. And obviously, you add a veteran in CP3 in that, you add a shooter in Harrison Barnes with that, and I think we have a really, really solid chance of making a play-in.
Yeah, I think that's hitting the nail on the head. I think if we can stay healthy, I think a play-in finish makes sense with all of the recent pieces we've added and with a lot of the ambiguity within our organization kind of cleared up because like you said, no Sohan experiment. We know who's going to be passing the ball. We're not going to wonder how is Wemby going to be catching lobs. We know that he's got one of the best lob passers in NBA history in Chris Paul. And I just kind of want to break down how teams get better when Chris Paul is added to the roster. Whenever Chris Paul is added to the roster, good things happen. Winning happens. 39% to to 60% winning change when he went to the Clippers. From the Suns, it was 46 to 70%. In Houston, it was 67% to 79% winning percentage. And even in OKC and Golden State, the winning percentage increased. Literally everywhere Chris Paul goes, the percentage in wins goes up, and I see no reason that doesn't continue in San Antonio. I don't see why we don't win at least 35 games if we all stay healthy and we keep doing our thing.
No, I agree 100%. And I get that he's older, but what we really just need is someone who can calm down our guys whenever things get shaky. Whenever we're heading into the fourth quarter and we're down by 7 or 8 or 10, we just need someone that's going to come in and keep everyone calm and just continue to go through what we do best, and that's get the ball to Wimpy. And we're not gonna see guys pass up open Wimby on an open fast break. We're not gonna see those miscues. I think Chris Paul is the type of guy that's gonna get in your ass and say, hey, like, get the ball to the best guy on the court. We all know who he is. He's 7'5". And so I think that's the type of guy that we need. And shout out to Trey Jones. Trey Jones came in and was the starting point guard, and actually he was the one, his assists went up whenever they just started giving him the ball and having him be the actual point guard rather than the Jeremy Sohan experiment that failed miserably. So now Jeremy can stay down low, grab rebounds, and kick it out. I don't need Jeremy Sohan to be shooting three-pointers anymore. And really what it comes down to is also all the players that have had the free green light for the past 2 or 3 years, that shit's over. We are done. We are done with that. We don't need anyone doing any kind of Superman stuff. We are now going to be a very well-oiled machine with Wimby at the front, CP3 throwing him lobs, and just now we can actually see Greg Popovich coach too. Because how can you coach a team that is young? Everyone has a green light. Everyone's trying to one-up each other. There's not a whole lot of passing. Like, what happened to the beautiful game that we used to play? We had flashes here and there, but now it's like, okay, Keldon Johnson, calm down. You don't need to be a bull in a china shop. It's okay. Pick your spots. So I think we know what we have. We have the foundation. Now let's build on that. And how do you build on that? You bring in a guy like CP3. You bring in a guy like Harrison Barnes. You have Steph Castle in the background. We're gonna be fine. We just got full faith in Pop is what we need.
Absolutely, yeah. I think you're hitting the nail on the head. There's a lot of good things going into next season. One of them is Stephon Castle. I think he's going to be a guy that he's going to have some responsibility right out of the gate, but I don't think it's going to be too much responsibility where it's going to sort of overwhelm him to a certain degree. I think he's going to come in and average maybe not a really great efficient rookie campaign, but I could see him coming in and averaging 11, 12 points,
Sure.
a few rebounds, a few assists, and really bringing some good perimeter defense, maybe even becoming our best perimeter defender right away. I'm not sure if he will. Devin Vassell still has a lot of good defensive upside, but I think if Devin is exerting more of his energy offensively, that's going to be all the more reason why we need Stephon Castle in the rotation. So I think, even though he's going to be a rookie, I think he's going to play a big role for us this next season.
No, I love his size. Him being 6'4" is such a great dynamic for us having, if CP3 and Trey Jones are on the court and having Castle there, I think that really just helps our perimeter defense for sure. So we're not having to run out guys that maybe aren't comfortable out there. So I think we're in a good spot to make a play in. Now what happens after the play in is who knows. We'll see what happens throughout the year, and hopefully we get through it pretty healthy. But I think our expectations are valid, and I'll definitely be putting in some bets on Spurs hitting the over on wins.
Yeah, I think I will too. When I'm realistically looking at some of the teams in the West that I think the Spurs are going to finish higher than, Utah, Memphis, Portland. I think that we could finish above Houston, and Golden State is trending in the wrong direction. And so if
So are the Suns.
Right, right. I mean, I still think the Suns have enough going for them to where they're for sure playoff team. But at the same time, I think that they're a team that is really bringing about some more question marks than they are answers. So I think that we're on the way up, and some of these other teams they're on the way down. So I like where we're going to be in the next 2 or 3 years.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, we're looking at, I mean, and this is actually kind of a good transition to the Olympic team. We're seeing that these older superstars that we've grown in love for the past 15 years, they're losing a step. It's not the same. It's not the same KD. It's not the same Steph. It's not the same LeBron. It's they're still doing their same tricks, but they're just a little bit more methodical with what they're doing. And we're seeing it right now with the USA basketball team. Kevin Durant has had this calf injury for what 2 weeks now, and he hasn't been on the court with these guys in these exhibitions. He hasn't really. I mean, I'm sure he's shooting, and we saw him shoot obviously with that clip that LeBron was like, "Hey, go make your shot." So like obviously it's Kevin Durant. He can shoot the lights out, but with the way that the NBA is and how global it is, I'm sure you saw this thing on social media. I think I sent it to the group, and it was in the Olympics there's 61 NBA players playing for other countries. That's huge. That is huge. I mean that's so many NBA players, so many quality players, and with a smaller court, with different rules. I think we're seeing kind of these guys. What are the Lakers going to look like in 3 years? What are the Suns going to look like in 3 years? What are the Warriors going to look like in 3 years? I think with those things happening and them trending down, like you were saying, it just leaves a lot of room for a team like how young we are to come up and end up being the Oklahoma City Thunder, being a Denver Nuggets, being a Timberwolves. So, I really think that a lot of these superstars that we all love, and they're great, don't get me wrong, they're great, but the Olympics, I think, are showing that they have lost a step or two.
Yeah, I can't really disagree with that. There's so many games that are really, really close. Whenever you look at the skill discrepancy, the game is still close. So even if you have the talent all on your squad, you have the MVP guys, you have the all NBA guys, it doesn't matter if you're playing a team that has played together year in and year out each and every summer, and the guys have continuity together.
Yep.
That matters just as much as playing with guys that are talented. And I think that we even saw that just as recently as this game against Germany just the other day.
Yeah.
It was just a 4-point game, and we had to rally in the fourth quarter to get that victory. Germany was winning at the end of the third, and I thought they were legitimately going to close it out. And that was a kind of come from behind fight win, and another example of the world has caught up to us in so many different ways in the basketball world.
Yeah, and I think watching the games, one of the biggest things that I've seen is the lack of transition points that we have. I feel that it's been a lot slower pace than years past with the Team USA. Yeah, they're still getting lobs and still getting dunks and getting to the rack. I can see that. But it feels like in years past we had a lot of fast break points. We had a lot of, let's gun it kind of thing. And it just doesn't seem like we have that same mentality, or maybe we're just not showing our hand early. I'm not too sure which one it is. But I do have some concern if we're in the same scenario as we were with Germany, and we're going into the fourth quarter, or we're not really making a lot of shots early on, and one of these guys that has been a role player for 10, 15 years that comes in and starts to light it up like a Patty Mills or a Nicholas Batum, those types of guys, and they end up taking over a fourth quarter, like we're going home, like or we're not gonna make it to the gold medal round if that's the case. And I'm honestly nervous about playing against France in Paris. I think that's something that people kind of overlook, is they're going to have home court advantage, and it's going to be loud in there because they are very confident in their basketball team, and that team's good. And if if they're struggling against guys that aren't NBA quality big men, and they have their hands full, they're going to have their hands full with Rudy Gobert and Victor Wembanyama. So I still think we win gold, but I do think, I've said it for the past probably 6 months now, I don't think it's going to be easy. It's going to be a dogfight in a couple of these.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we're going to have to fight for that gold medal if that's how it's going to shake out. Um, but at the end of the day, I think the pressure would be on France in that situation. They have not been playing well over the past few games. So even if they do have home court advantage, I would love to see how they come out and play basketball themselves. So I think that Wembanyama's he's got a lot to prove this Olympics, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Adam's not here because his technical issues, but we got into a pretty I wouldn't say heated, but we got into a pretty good debate about Team USA basketball. He still feels that Team USA is going to win every game by 30. I think we've kind of ended that discussion after these past few games with Australia, South Sudan, and Germany. And honestly, I'm a little nervous that Serbia might punch us in the mouth because Serbia didn't have was it 3 of the 5 starters whenever they played the U.S. and Jokic did not look like he wanted to be there. So now that the games matter, I'm really interested to see what kind of things change. And if we're going to go in there and continue to do what we're doing, and hopefully Steph makes shots, hopefully LeBron James still continues to drive the basket when the game matters. Which is, by the way, side note, I am so happy it's taken him 20 years to finally take it to the rack when the game matters. Like, we've only been calling for that for 20 years. Like, no jumper, no step back, you're not passing the ball, head down to the basket. Like, good God, it took you this long, LeBron. You know how much I would have loved you more if you would have done it? Oh my God, if you would have done it 10 years ago, like, dude, it would have been a totally different conversation. But at least he's doing it now, I guess. So hopefully Kevin Durant can come in and be a plug and play. But you can tell, like your point earlier, this team's not gelling. And then it's weird to see a guy like Devin Booker kind of take a huge back seat to the offense overall. Like, Devin Booker just looks like a fish out of water whenever you watch him play.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you look at his stats against Germany. He was 1 for 6, played 25 minutes, only 3 points. That's just not the Devin Booker we know. And that was actually the first good game from Joel Embiid the entire time with Team USA. So there's guys that we're used to seeing perform at a high level that just aren't doing so. And so I think, yeah, it's the days of Team USA just blowing people out by 30 on a consistent basis. I think those days are out the door. Will they win games by 30? Yes, of course, because if these guys are clicking, it's the best team on the planet, bar none. But if other teams are performing well, it's going to be closer than we want to admit.
Absolutely. And I think we're starting to see a lot of these guys' reputation, it's outweighing their talent at the moment. And yeah, we have the best players, but they're all in their upper 30s, so mid to late 30s. So let's see what they do. Let's see what they do when the games matter. Let's see what Steve Kerr does. I mean, what's really crazy though, when you start to think about all the teams that have NBA players, it's all the coaching staffs that have NBA coaches, like guys who have been assistant coaches or part of the organization and things like that. Like Luol Deng, being part of South Sudan, the coach for South Sudan was Raul Ivy.
Yeah.
Haven't heard that name in 10 years, if not more. And I'm like, oh, that's where he went. Okay, cool. So he knows. Like, these guys know. It's really, for me, it's really fun to see guys like Mamu go out for their country and drop 26 points and do all this cool stuff while they're doing it. Because you get to see, like, oh, yeah, that's why they're in the NBA. Because they're one of the best players on the planet right now. And even if you're the 10th guy or whatever, I mean, look at a guy like Patty Mills, who's still a free agent. And he's out there playing his ass off for Australia and playing really well, too. And if he gets it going, he gets it going. So I'm hoping that Patty Mills gets on a team here in the next year. And if he doesn't, I hope he goes back to Australia and rides it out for the last couple years of his career.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as Spurs fans, we love to see Patty just thriving in an international environment. He's been doing that before he got to San Antonio. He was doing it while he was in San Antonio, and he's doing it even post San Antonio career. So it's just nice to see him dominating because we're always going to root for Patty.
All day, every day. Patty Mills for Patty Melts.
I literally named my dog Millie after Patty Mills.
So, Rob, obviously we're excited about basketball. What other Olympic sports are you excited about here coming up? We got the opening ceremony tomorrow. That's going to be fun to watch. But what are you excited to watch?
I'm a big time diver. Okay, I'm just kidding.
Like dope.
No, I'm honestly a lot of the track and field stuff, a lot of the sprinting stuff is so cool to me because I was always an athlete that relied more on skill than actual athleticism and explosiveness and things like that. So to see athletes that can just jump out of the gate and get that quick, that fast, just blows my mind. So I would have to say I'm always excited to watch a 100-meter sprint, 200-meter, 200-meter hurdles, a lot of stuff like that.
For sure. No, I get that. I have a list of Olympic sports that I love. I really enjoy obscure sports. I think they're really fun to watch. It's fun to kind of get in the weeds of it. Because of my wife, I'm pretty well versed in gymnastics. So for me, gymnastics is my sport to watch. I'm super excited to see the men's USA team. There's a guy, Fred, who's huge on TikTok. I think TikTok's like Fred Backflips or whatever, but he goes to University of Michigan. I got to see him to compete last year in the World Championship games. He was fun to watch. Simone Biles is obviously top notch. Like, I mean, that girl.
She's the GOAT.
She's the GOAT of all GOATs, honestly.
Yeah, she's GOAT.
And it kind of bothers me that ESPN came out with their list and had LeBron number one. Personally, I would have gone to Simone Biles as the best athlete, just from the way that she is whenever the lights are on. And she had some mental issues in the last Olympics, but this time I think she's here. We're gonna see her go out and compete, and it's gonna be great to watch. You can also catch me watching handball. I love handball, man. That thing's fun to watch. It's like hockey and basketball rolled into one.
Bro,
so much fun.
I think in a different life I would have been a sick handball player.
Dude, if you grew up in Norway, you would have been the best handball player.
Dude, I'd been like Euro stepping, like just like man, dude. I think I like handball too. I think a lot of the athleticism I can relate to.
Yeah, absolutely. Swimming's always fun to watch. Let's see, what other sports did I record already? Because YouTube TV popped up, and you're like, you like the Olympics? Record this now. And I was like, okay. So I did. Oh, skateboarding. I'm excited about skateboarding.
Oh,
excited about surfing. Oh, I don't know if you know this, but if you don't, viewers, fans, everybody, listen up. This year in the Olympics, there is going to be break dancing. There is break dancing in the Olympics, and I cannot wait to see what these countries do in break dancing. I am so pumped for it.
Who gives a fuck? Like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to see some stomp the yard bullshit in fucking the Olympics. Like, what is this gonna be, Olympics for Cam? No, I'm just talking shit. But honestly, honestly, those are some athletes. They are athletes. It's a lot of hard work doing that shit.
It's always fun to see which athlete becomes like the next celebrity and the America's sweetheart and things like that. And I just hope that everyone that goes there has a great time, and they know that the USA people are proud of them, and let's go win some gold.
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna win gold. That's what USA does, baby. Hell yeah. Well, that feels like a good episode. that felt like a good episode. Everyone, thank y'all for joining us for another episode of the Baseline Bums podcast. Your host, Rob, a.k.a. B-Ball Archives. Once again, I'm joined by the homie Agapito, repping the Victor Wembanyama France shirt. Lovely. Yeah, but hey, thanks for joining us, and as always,
Thank you for having me.
It is
Let's do
go.
this. Go Spurs.
Go!
Go! Adam, get your internet fixed.